Hi there. Today we are having an extraordinary session together with you. This will be my first experience and I think it will be your first one as well. Let's make a quick start today with our new topic, relative clauses. In fact, we are familiar with the clauses. We studied if clauses, wish clauses together with you this year. And it's time for relative clauses. As you know that clauses are the part of a sentence. And as for relative clauses, this part of the sentence gives us extra information about the thing that we mentioned. These things can be animals, objects, people, times, places, reasons, and possessions. We are going to have a look at them one by one and we are going to see how we use relative clauses in our sentences. So, the definition is relative clauses give us extra information, additional information in fact, about something, someone, or identify which particular thing or person we are talking about. They are often introduced by which, who, when, where, why, whom, and whose. We will mainly focus on which, who, when, where, and whose, but today in our video, our main point will be who and which. Alright, but still let's have a look at the examples. I hope you can see the examples clearly. So, did you see the film which was on TV last night? So, here we are giving an additional information about the film. Yes. So, it can be any film, but the film which was on TV last night. So, our additional information is the film which was broadcasted last night. Okay, and the next one is Tom Davies, who is appearing in concert in Reading this week, is with me in the studio. So this time we are giving an additional information about the person, Tom Davies. So this, while speaking, we need to give this information because it is important for the person we are speaking to. And do you remember the day? So it is the time, and for the times we use when we met, okay? This is the place where they filmed Citizen Kane, and for places, as you can guess, we use where as a relative pronoun. So, which, who, when, where, why, whom, and whose are the relative pronouns that we use in order to give extra information for our sentences. So why do we learn relative clauses? So we have come to a stage that we can make more elaborate sentences in our daily lives. So instead of saying, did you watch the film? It was on TV last night. This dull two sentences, we can make it more elaborated by making it a relative clause like this. Did you see the film which was on TV last night? Instead of using two short sentences, we can make our sentences larger together with the relative clauses. Alright, let's continue. With the non-defining relative clauses. So we have two types of relative clauses. The first one is non-defining relative clause. So, non-defining relative clauses simply give us more information. So, if you don't use that information, your sentence still can be meaningful. But this additional information helps us to know better. Okay? The sentence makes complete sense without the relative clause. So when you take that clause from your sentence, it still makes a sense. So the use is to give extra information about something, someone. And our example is Ray Watson, who starred in Bandits, is considering making a film based on the life of Einstein. Alright, so when you take the relative clause from your sentence, Ray Watson is considering making a film based on the life of Einstein, it still makes a sense. But this extra information gives us more knowledge about Ray Watson. Okay? Just in case you don't know that particular detail. Okay? Non-defining relative clauses are separated from the rest of the sentence by commas. So you can see the commas here just right after Ray Watson and just before is. So as it is extra, as it is not needed, you can take it. So we should use the comma. Mega Monsters, which was filmed in New York, is a very disappointing film. See, when you take out this part, relative clause part, Mega Monsters is a very disappointing film. It still makes a sense. Alright, we cannot leave out the word which introduces the relative clause, and we cannot use the word that instead. Okay, Mega Monsters was filmed in New York. No. We should definitely use which was filmed. Alright. And for the defining relative clause, so I told you that we have two types of relative clauses. We have mentioned the first one, non-defining relative clauses, and if we have none, we have the defining relative clauses as the second one. Defining relative clauses tell us which one of a group of things, people, we are talking about. The sentence doesn't usually make complete sense without the relative clause. So when you eject relative clause part from your sentence, the left part does not make sense, does not usually make sense. Okay? So they use to tell us which one of a group of things or people we are talking about. And the example is the book which I read was the best of all. The one who is wearing a blue shirt is Justin Timberlake, isn't it? So, defining relative clauses are not separated from the rest of the sentence by commas. So we cannot use commas in defining relative clauses, as the relative clause part is the necessary part in the sentence. This is the DVD which I told you about the other day. So this is the DVD. Yes, of course we know that is the DVD. You don't have to be genius to know that. But what we want to say is that, which I told you about the other day. So I really want to mention about that DVD, okay? So when you take the relative clause part out of this sentence, it really doesn't make any sense. And we can also use that to introduce the relative clause. So instead of who, which, we can use that in our relative clause sentences. This is the DVD that I told you about the other day. We can often leave out the word which introduces the relative clause when it is the object of the clause. So if your relative clause sentence starts with a subject, you can omit the relative pronoun, like this. This is the DVD I told you about the other day. See, your relative clause here starts with I, so you don't have to use which or that in your relative clause. And yes. So let's make a summary for the relative clauses. As I mentioned at the very beginning, relative clauses are used to give extra information about the things, about the people, the places or the times that we are talking about. So for people we use who. If we want to give extra information for someone, we use who as the relative pronoun. If we want to give information about something, then we use the pronoun which in our relative clauses. If you are talking about a place, then your relative pronoun will be where. And if you're talking about time, then your relative pronoun will be when. And I told you that we have two types of relative clauses. One is the defining relative clause and the other is non-defining relative clause. For defining relative clause, the additional information that we mention in the sentence is crucial. So you should definitely add that part in your sentence. So you cannot eject that part from your sentence. And we call them defining relative clause. And for the non-defining relative clauses, the information that we provide can be omitted, can be ejected from your sentence, as the rest of your sentence, the left part of your sentence, can still mean something to the person. Okay, I think you got the point. And yes, we didn't do the lesson together with you in the classroom. Instead, I have recorded a video for you. I hope you got the point for relative clauses. You can play this video whatever time you want and you can catch the points you missed. Okay? Thanks for listening and please be ready in the class with the information of relative clause. We are going to do our exercises together with you in the classroom. Take care.